Hey, this is John Knable from Creolio, and welcome to this demo of the Creolio app. We're going to be focusing on the flashcard feature today, as well as the translation feature. And we're going to be using those two features to learn traditional Chinese. So let's take a look at the flashcards. It's currently called Drill, and this is what you might see. I'm starting from scratch here. I have no level of Chinese. That's 0. And just to talk a little bit about what differentiates this flashcard app from other flashcard apps. Well, first we have word-for-word translation, and each individual word is translated, and then you have a natural translation. And you might not see the value of that right now, but you will see in the course of this video, I hope. And we also are introducing you to new words based on their frequency. And we have sentences already pre-built in. We actually have over 35,000 sentences for each language. So let's kind of get into it. You might have noticed that the sentence rank is 25, and my rank is 0, and both of those numbers are out of 10,000. If you learn 10,000 words in a language, you will be pretty much fluent. So that's kind of the goal here, and we benchmark everything against that. We benchmark the word level. We track the level of each word. We track the level of each piece of content, in this case, a sentence or a paragraph. And we also track the level of the user, and we can mix and match those together. So what we can do is we can adapt the content to your level, and we can also put you in front of content that's already close to your level. That's what's happening here. And you will learn the language in a very efficient order while completely understanding everything, and we're pushing you forward just a little bit at a time. So we have these words that are 15, 25, and 22 word level. They're all unfamiliar or predicted unfamiliar. That's why there's a question mark. If I say that if I click that, I can say, oh no, I know it. It's familiar to me. And I can click again and say, now I definitely don't know it. It's definitely unfamiliar, right? You can also change that here. You might have noticed this one changed while we did that. We'll come back to that. But so the first thing is that you can manually mark words as known and unknown. And that starts to build a language profile, which we can look at here. Now we have how, which is familiar. Last seen 8 seconds ago, it's word level 22. And that brought my level up to 22. Okay, so you can see that here as well. My level is now 22. When I changed that, now we have 2 words that I don't know actually. But what it's going to try to do is teach me the most frequent word of the whole paragraph that I don't know yet. Most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't do it. If there's already other words you're learning, it won't add a new one. Or if all of the words that you don't know in the sentence are a little bit too above your level, it won't add anything. But right now, it'll add up to 1 word per sentence or per paragraph. And so it's going to try to teach me this. And then the translation, you can see, got a little bit blurry. And in fact, also the pinyin got slightly blurry as well. But that's just try to start challenging you to remember this word without relying 100% on the translation. And actually, the natural translation also got a little bit more blurry. So we're going to try to wean you off of all of these crutches that we're giving to you in a logical way. I'm going to say, though, that I know all of these words. And so now this is the only word that is left. And so it's trying to teach me this one. And now you can see that this all got a little bit more blurry. And if this is too much of a crutch for you, you can change it and do something like this. And then when you press, we have full hotkey support, by the way. You can do everything with your left hand. You can just kind of toggle back and forth. I like that one. I use that one a lot. Or you can do it like this. But for the sake of this video, I'll probably mostly be using this one. And when I click next, actually, since I'd manually marked all of those, then when I go to vocabulary, they're all here. So let's go to next. See what happens. Okay, so cool. By the way, I do have autoplay on. You can turn that off. So right now it'll just autoplay every time I do a new card. But you can also press S or this button, and it'll play it. So we have text-to-speech. If you don't like the text-to-speech is adapted to the device you're using, and some devices it sounds pretty bad. You can use advanced text-to-speech with 11 Labs. Let's just see what that looks like. It's a little slower.
我会很像他.
Now that is a really good voice. It's very native sounding. So I do like that better. But it's I'm just still going to go with speech synthesis for the purpose of this video. And for some reason, speech synthesis is so fast, so I like to bring it down a lot. So now it's going to try to teach me this word. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and do next.
我会很想他。你们要和我一起去吗?
So I'm learning now 2 words, and this word I've seen twice. Have you noticed that the translation got even a little bit more blurry?
我会很
And now the translation is completely gone. And the opinion is quite blurry, but the tone mark is still quite visible. So I just wanted to point that out, that when you are learning a word, once we add a word to learning for you, and we do that for you, there is a way that you can manually mark words as known, which I might get into later in the video, but manually mark them as learning. But generally speaking, you can only control whether you know it or you don't, and then the app chooses for you which words to introduce you to learn. And that's based mostly on frequency. So it's going to try to teach you the most frequent words you don't know yet. We're taking that, we're doing all of the hard work for you, so you don't have to think about it. And the app is going to make better decisions than you can anyway, almost always, because it has all of that data. And you don't really have that data just stored in your brain somewhere. But you can override it if you want to. So, we have a setting where by default you have to see a word 7 times to learn it, and it will automatically become a familiar word. That's probably not going to happen in this video because we use spaced repetition, and it actually takes about an hour to see the same word 7 times, because first you won't see that word until a minimum of 1 minute has passed by, and then 2 minutes, and then I think it's 4 minutes, and then whatever. It just keeps going up and up until it takes an hour to see the word again. So eventually everything will be gone, and the tone mark. Yeah, so it actually happened because this word is so common, it just happens to be appearing on its own anyway, and now everything's gone, and if we turn the page one more time, we see that word. Now it's about, when I turn it one more time, it's automatically going to become a known word. So if we look at vocabulary, we have wa is learning. It's been seen 6 times. And if I turn to next, it promoted to familiar automatically. And there it is right here, familiar. Okay. So now I want to show you another feature, which is the word familiarity prediction feature. It actually is on by default at 75%. I like to make it even more aggressive and bring it up to 100%. And you can play with that. It's a little bit confusing for a new user, but the point of that is to save you tons and tons of time. You can see as soon as I brought it up, and the words right here turned green, one at a time. So if I have that off, then if I already know these 2 words, I have to manually click them. And if you already have a level of, say, 1,000 words you already know, and you come into this app, the app doesn't know that you know those 1,000 words, and so you have to, over the course of encountering those 1,000 words, you're going to have to mark every single one of them manually as known. But if you have prediction on, hopefully you won't have to mark nearly as many. What it basically does is it figures out your level, which is 20, and the level of the word. And if the level of the word, if you have it all the way to 100%, then if the level of the word is beneath your level, then it'll predict that you probably know it. And if you bring it down from 100% and you don't make it quite so aggressive, then it will be a little bit more conservative, and it'll only predict words as known if they're quite a bit beneath your level. But in this case, I know both of these words, and so I don't have to click them. I can just, they haven't been registered yet as known. Only when I click next will they be confirmed as familiar, and then they will change to the same status as this one. But if the prediction was wrong, all I have to do is left click the word and it automatically changes it to unfamiliar. So I'm correcting that prediction. But I'm going to change that back, and then we go next.
我会很想他.
So this is the fastest way to get the app up to speed with your knowledge. Well, one of the fastest ways. There are some other ways, and I guess I will talk about those in a second. Let's just do, I guess, 2 more slides just so you can kind of see. So I know this word. Well, I also know this word. And so when I do next, it's giving me a lot more predictions. Okay, so let's show you 2 more ways that you can bring the app up to speed with your knowledge. Well, first of all, you can import. That's pretty straightforward. And you probably want to first start with an export. I have one right here of my own knowledge. I exported it before I made this video, and so that I can re-import after I'm done, because I had to clear out my knowledge. So you can see, actually I have multiple languages here, but for Chinese, I have, the word state, the word level, I think, and the number of times I've seen it, last time I've seen, all that stuff is here. So I won't be needing that, so let's close that out. Now, the other way that you can get your knowledge up to speed is with the placement quiz, which is actually going to happen when you first start the app. And this is a fast way to get it up to speed. And it's a different placement quiz you might not have seen before, but basically it shows you a few sentences, and the sentences are in ascending rank, so they get harder and harder. And you just slide this as far as you can until you see a sentence that you don't know everything in. You don't know the sentence, you just slide it one back. So for me, I know this sentence, I know this sentence, I know this one, and I know this one, and I do get this one confused with another one. Let's see. 我给我的孩子们让了一本书. So I'm not completely sure about this word, so I'm just going to go back one. And you can just finish right away, or you can do it a few times. We're going to make this a little bit easier to use. We're probably going to make you do it 3 times in the future, just to try to get a little bit more information from you. But I know this one, and I'll just do it, 父亲. So it's actually highlighting the rarest word in the sentence, just to kind of like make it a little bit easier for you. I'm just going to go right here, and I'll finish. And that added a ton of words for me, just to get me started off. So when I go back to drill, now we have more words have been marked as known, and then we have more predictions. So 他把他所有的钱都给了我. All right, so he gave me all his money. Cool. So I hope this kind of gives you an understanding of how this works. I do want to show you another feature here, by the way. I think, where is this? I'm gonna show the button labels so you can see this a little bit more easily. We also have a grammar feature, which I'm just gonna press that and see what happens. So this is an easy sentence. So it's just giving me the full sentence structure and then grammatical explanations for each word. But sometimes it will give you phrases as well. And what I want you to kind of get in the habit of if you're using this app is basically you want to focus your attention here. And actually this is a little bit too visible for me. So what I like to do is usually I change it to this one once I'm a little bit more advanced. And I will just read this and I'll try to figure out, do I know what's going on in this sentence just from the word for word here? In this case, only one word is translated. And so, 有一个男人和一个女人. Okay, so I can translate that for you. There's a man and a woman. And if I didn't completely understand the sentence from this, so sometimes you even know every individual word on its own, but put together, the sentence is confusing. And that could be an aspect of syntax or grammar that you just haven't really mastered yet. So then if you show the natural translation, then it becomes, hopefully that clears up any questions you have. But let's see if I can do, you know what, I'm going to show you the grammar again, but give me 1 second. Let me show you first the translation feature. So with the translation feature, this is meant to be a replacement for Google Translate. So anytime you might use Google Translate, hopefully you use this instead, because you're going to learn a little bit with every single translation you do, whether you're translating from your native language to the language you're learning, or from the language you're learning to your native language. So let's start with a sentence here. Let's actually, let's just do a simple Chinese sentence. Let's do, oops, what's happening here? There we go. Okay, so it automatically detected it was traditional Chinese, and it's automatically trying to turn it to English. The reason for that is because it already knows, the app already knows that I am learning Chinese, and my native language is English. So the app can make some assumptions about what language direction you're using. In fact, if I just paste it in like this, it does everything automatically. And it's a little bit funny that these ended up split up, and this is actually a really good example to explain to you. So this means what do you usually like to do? And this would usually be a single word, shema. But this version of ma is a variant that for some reason my keyboard is using the variant, and the variant is actually, I could be wrong about this. It might be vice versa, but I think this variant is less common than the regular version, and therefore it's not recognizing it as part of this word. And but that's okay, because if it's splitting up an actual word into separate words when it kind of quote unquote shouldn't, well, the cool thing is you still have the explanation here, and you can see that actually what, you have to kind of, like, this is part of language learning. You have to kind of figure things out a little bit. But you can also do grammar. And then here we go. We have a phrases and idioms section that catches the that for you, and it explains, oh, this is an actual word, which is the combination of those two. And let's do another one. This time I'll do it in English. Whoa. Okay, so now it knows it's English, and it's going to automatically do it to translate traditional Chinese, because that's the language I'm learning right now. But you can change that. So this is really interesting. So it actually ends up, what we actually end up doing is we take the English, we translate it to Chinese, and then we translate it back to English with the word-for-word translation. And so I call this reverse translation. And then you're going to see something really funny here. 请关掉水龙头. Okay, so water dragon head. Interesting. Faucet. Okay, well, let's do, like, what is the water dragon head? Okay, but it's saying faucet here. So with just this, you might be able to figure out that water dragon head is the word for faucet in Chinese. But you can also do the grammar, and let's see if it shows up here. Oh, look at that. 水龙头 means faucet or tap. It's made of the 3 characters water, dragon, and head. Okay, isn't that sweet? So the one thing I just want you to understand is you do have to sometimes rely on the grammar feature in order to get your explanations. Sometimes. And I'm going to explain why. Because we have our own custom tokenization dictionary. This is a specific feature of Chinese in this app. We could have included this as a word in itself, but we decided to leave that word out of the tokenization dictionary and break it up into the component parts. Why did we do that? Basically because the word for faucet in Chinese is a pretty rare word. It's above the 10,000 word mark. So it's not absolutely essential for you to learn that word, but it is essential for you to learn all 3 of these words, which are components of it. Excuse me. And you're going to get more reinforcement. So each one of these words, we're going to register that you've seen it, and it's going to go along. Like if you're already learning the word shui, then it's going to register. It's going to progress your progress with that word individually. And also with Chinese, it's good to learn the components and to learn how they come together to form, larger structures like a word. And so if you see something that confuses you, basically the order that you should use is look at the word for word, then look at the phrase or the natural translation, and then look at the grammar. And that's almost always going to get you where you need to go. It's going to give you everything you need. So let's see. I think that's mostly what I wanted to show you. I can show you a few more features. This feature is kind of nice for beginners, but I recommend you turn it off eventually because we don't really want to use the crutch of word spaces too much. Eventually in Chinese, you're going to have to learn how to read without spaces. So you can turn that one off or turn it on at your pleasure. We do have grayscale mode. We have different size and fonts you can use. I think I talked about these already. And then, yeah, that. So I guess we'll look at the vocabulary page again and just show you that you can sort these by word level. You can filter by status. You can adjust the columns. You can sort by time seen, the last time you've seen it, I think is the default sort. And you get a nice overview of all the words that you know, don't know, and are learning. And yeah, so that's the demo. Thank you so much for watching. I hope we're looking for more beta testers. If you're interested in becoming a beta tester, I will add a link in the description so that you can fill it out. And basically what I want is more people to give me feedback and give me ideas. And if you have certain features that you want to see, we'll build those for you as long as other people want to see the same features. And just looking for feedback so we can make this the best tool possible. I just want to say that I'm personally using the flashcard feature every day for about 15 to 30 minutes, and it's been really fun. I'm learning very quickly. And the spaced repetition is really solid. So the fact that I'm learning words in order and I get a maximum reinforcement on the words, and it's just a pretty cool system. That being said, I think even with this being the best flashcard app I've ever used, I think even this could get a little bit boring at some point, and I don't think that flashcards are really the ideal primary way to learn a language. The goal that I have for this app is that this will become more of a supplemental feature And eventually, you'll be learning more through chat, language exchange, and eventually through reading books and other things like that. And the flashcards will supplement those features. But to each their own. You know, if you're already the kind of person that likes using flashcards, you're the ideal beta tester at this phase. But the very next feature that we're going to be unveiling is going to be chat. And it doesn't look that great right now, but right now we have a conversation list, and here's a conversation, and all it is just we already have the chat feature set up. Now we're just going to integrate the same concept of these word-for-word translations into each message, so that every single message that you receive or send is going to be a learning opportunity. There are language exchange apps already out there like Tandem and HelloTalk, but generally you either read their message, like if I have a language partner who's a native of Chinese, they might send me a message in Chinese, and then I either know it or I don't, and I translate it to English. And then when it's fully translated to English, usually that ends up being a crutch, and I don't end up really learning anything from it. And that's the same issue I saw with Google Translate. You don't really learn anything when you use Google Translate. So what we want is to create this experience where you chat with somebody, and we don't translate the words you already know, and then that just, your brain just knows right away, oh, I should know these words so I can afford to take the time to try to read them and reinforce them. And then the words you don't know yet are translated, and then some of the words are going to be being taught to you. So, but only maybe one word per text. So it's not going to be overwhelming. Instead of trying to understand every single word in every single text, you can maintain a fluent and conversation at a normal pace and just learn a little bit at a time. That's the goal that we're shooting for. And so keep up with us for updates. And all right, I'll catch you later.